So from the title, you understood that we are going to be talking about The Nightmare Before Christmas. But first, can we take a second to appreciate the fit? And even the shoes are The Nightmare Before Christmas themed. And yes, they still have the sticker, because I'm never going to remove it, because they're so goddamn cool and I'm never going to wear them. Look at how cool they are! I mean, look at the box!
What's in the box?
Look at the inside, it's so goddamn cool! Okay, enough flexing, let's talk about the movie. So it all started when Jean and William Burton really loved each other. And out of their love came out a young and wonderful boy named Timothy.
Mehdi, you got the wrong script. We are recording Nightmare.
My bad, sorry, wrong speech. So we'll make a dedicated video about Tim Burton in the future, but I still have to tell you how he got the idea. So basically, he got the idea when seeing Christmas decoration replacing Halloween ones in a store. And that's it. Not every idea comes from a wild scenario. So The Nightmare Before Christmas actually started as a poem. In the original poem, we had the basis of the story. Jack is getting tired of Halloween, he stumbles upon Christmas Town and wants to do it himself. Kidnaps Santa Claus and goes on to deliver the presents, but uh-oh, what's happening? The fog is getting too thick. We need someone to help us. And there comes Zero, the best boy, to light up the way. They go on to deliver the present, but they make a terrible mess, and at the very last second, Santa Claus comes back to save the day. It's basically the story we know, but don't you feel like we're missing a few people in there? Like, what about Dr. Finkelstein? What about Oogie Boogie? And most importantly, what about Sally? Well, they were not in there to begin with. They were added afterwards when scripting for the movie. And by the way, he wasn't even sure that they were gonna make a movie out of it. After he wrote it in '82, it took Burton a few years to figure out what to do with the story. At first he was like, maybe I'm gonna do a short film or maybe a short TV special, but he wasn't really pleased with the idea. And in 1990, since Disney still had the rights to the poem, they just decided to make a movie. But the thing is, Disney didn't want their name on the project because they felt like it wouldn't match their vibe and just put a dent in their name. So basically, they had a good story, a great animator, and just decided to give him a bunch of cash and told him to do whatever he wants, as long as he was working under the studio name Tombstone. And for those of you who know Tombstone, it's basically the studio that Disney uses whenever there is a project that is a bit too dark or obscure for them. Quick pause here. Since the beginning of the video, I've been talking about Tim Burton's movie, and everyone else does. Hell, even the movie is presented as Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. But the truth is, he wasn't the director of the movie, he was only the producer. I mean, yeah, he wrote the original poem, but he didn't direct the movie. The one who did is Henry Selick. Sure, Burton wrote the original poem and had a big role in the making of the movie, but I feel that Selick is not getting the cred that he deserves. So now you know who's the real director, and whenever someone says, oh, it was made by Tim Burton, you can correct them and be like, actually, it was Henry Selick. So, Burton is the producer, Selick is the director. Who's the screenwriter? Well, before I tell you that, we have to talk about the music composer. While they were struggling to get the thing written and produced, more on that later, there was one man working flawlessly. My goat, Danny Elfman. The guy composed all the music before anyone started writing the screenplay, and you might wonder, how the hell did he do that without the story? Well, the guy just sketched the storyboard with Tim Burton and went along with it. And to sprinkle a little bit of flex on top of that, the guy said that writing the music for this film was the easiest job he has ever had. The guy also voiced Jack, because Jack Skellington has two voices, one singing voice and one dialogue, and Danny Elfman was the singing voice. And because doing all of that wasn't enough for him, he voiced another two characters of the movie, the clown with the terror face and Barrel. Okay, so we have our producer, our director, our music composer. Can we please get a screenwriter? Well, of course! It was none other than Michael McDowell, the guy who wrote the screenplay for Beetlejuice. Well, until he was fired. Yeah, so, funny thing, apparently the guy had some kind of a issue and did nothing but snort his salary away. So basically the guy did absolutely nothing and got fired, and mind you, the production had already started. They were already filming the scene with Lock, Shock and Barrel kidnapping Santa Claus. So, production started, we don't have a screenwriter, we need immediate backup. And so comes in Caroline Thompson. Caroline? Caroline? Yeah, Caroline. Sorry, I'm French. And she had just finished Edward Scissorhands with Tim Burton as well, so it was just a natural pick. The thing is, the lady had to come in and write a story for a film that already had a story and was already under production. Good luck with that. So what did she do exactly? She mainly focused on the character of Sally. She rolled the whole independent arc against Dr. Finkelstein and the love story with Jack. And regarding that, she wasn't really happy with the unraveling of their love story, so she proposed to Tim Burton a different ending. Well, this wasn't welcomed with kind words. Allegedly, Tim Burton started screaming and broke an editing machine. Voila. Good vibes. She never suggested a different ending after that. But you know who did? Henry! He wanted Dr. Finkelstein to be the mastermind behind Oogie Boogie's plan. Well, you can guess how this was received by Burton. A lot of screaming and cursing again, but hey, no breaking of any machine this time. He just kicked a hole through a wall with his foot. The guy really doesn't like when you mess with his ending. Between the problems with the different writers, Tim Burton almost getting an aneurysm twice, it took 3 years to produce the movie. That's a long time. But why did it take so long? Well, stop motion takes a lot of time to be made. So basically, they put everything into position, take a picture, move everything ever so slightly, take another picture, etc. So for 1 second of footage, they needed 24 frames. 1 minute took them 1 week to shoot. The movie is 1 hour and 16 minutes, so I'll let you do the math. Okay, so to try to move things along as fast as possible, they were basically shooting on different sets at the same time. So how many sets? Up to 20 sets at the same time. It's an absolute mess. So not only is it an absolute mess, but you need a lot of puppets. 227 puppets, to be exact. Mind you, the movie only has 60 characters, so that's almost 4 duplicates per puppet. And if you think that 3 to 4 duplicates per puppet is a lot, what about the fact that Sally had 100 different faces? She needed a lot of facial range to do all the emotions, so what they did was make 100 different faces and just hide the seam under the hair. And so you may wonder, what about Jack? He's the main character, and he doesn't have any hair, so what can we do about that? Well, my friend, that is a wonderful question. And the only solution they had was to make a totally different head. And for Jack, they had 4 different types of heads. 400s, sorry. Are you starting to get why this movie was so long to produce? And to add insult to injury, the animators were asked to draw with their non-dominant hands to give an unsettling look to the movie. And so the puppets were a big problem, and the sets were also a big problem. But I mean, literally big problems. I mean, think about it. The sets were a few meters by a few meters. So how the hell do you manage to move a puppet that is right in the middle? Well, the animators had to find a solution, and they found 2 solutions for this problem. Well, the first solution was to make the set into different parts that you can take away and put back together just to get an easier access. And the second one is that they built trapdoors scattered everywhere to get easy access. So basically, a crew member would crawl under the scene, open a trapdoor, move something, close the trapdoor again, take a shoot, and do this all over again. And I mean, I'm sorry, but this picture is hilarious to me. It looks like an Attack on Titan scene. And so there are a lot of those small problems that you don't really think about before starting production that end up wasting you a lot of time. Like Jack's outfit, for instance. At first, it was just a plain black suit. But you know what's the issue with the plain black suit? Well, you can't see a plain black suit on a plain black background, can you? So Selig had to change it to a stripped one. Another example of something you don't really think about is Oogie Boogie's lair being lit with UV lights. UV lights are fine as long as you don't spend too much time under them, but can you guess what kind of job takes a lot of time? So people working on the set had to put some sunscreen and protective glasses, as it would be a tad bit annoying to either go blind or get skin cancer just for a movie. I mean, since they were working in a studio in California, the sunscreen and the sunglasses were needed anyway. Oh, and talking about California, you know what's the issue in working in a closed studio with no AC in the middle of California? Well, it gets hot. And what do you do when it gets hot? You crack a window open or you open a door. So one day on shooting, they open the door, let some fresh air in, and just go on with their day. At the end of the day, they are happy, they work with a little bit of fresh air throughout the day, wonderful. But at the very last minute, they realized that some trees were a little bit melted. Well, opening the door just meant letting the outside humidity get inside and just melt some sculptures. So, because they didn't want to be cooked to a nice medium rare, they had to redo an entire day of shooting. The way I would have crashed out, people would still be talking about it to this day. To sum it up, they were doing the hard task of making a stop-motion animated movie, had issues with the screenwriter, a bunch of technical difficulties, had to work in an oven while not getting their skin toasted, and on top of that, they had to deal with Disney pitching in the dumbest ideas. Hey guys, love what you're doing here. We were just wondering, why don't we give Jack some eyes, you know? The eyes being the window to the soul and everything, that would be great. Yeah? No. Thank God Burton and Selick didn't listen to them, because what the hell is this nightmare fuel? And after all this struggle, the movie finally comes out, gets aired on the big screen, all that to be a flop. The movie only made $50 million, which may sound a lot to you, it sure does to me, but when you compare it to the $217 million that Aladdin made the year before, well, the movie only became a big thing once it came out on VHS. And Disney, seeing that it was actually making money, started getting dollar signs in their eyes, and in a biblical level of greed that is totally normal for Disney, they started milking it. They made all type of goodies possible. Plushes, pins, stickers, video games, clothes, even manga. They actually made 3. And since then, they have been running it down mid to get a sequel done. First, in 2001, they wanted to ditch the stop-motion animation and make a computer-animated sequel. I'm not even gonna comment on that. Again, in 2019, but they got shut down once more by Selick and Burton, and while they couldn't get the movie sequel that they wanted, they have gotten a few novels, and the latest one having been released the June of this year, 2025. So they're definitely not letting go of the universe of The Nightmare Before Christmas. I feel that Disney's greed knows no bounds, and that they won't stop trying to get a sequel until they get it done, and that it's gonna be terrible, and it will tarnish the name of this movie forever. But hey, I'm praying that it won't happen anytime soon. And that's almost all I had to say about The Nightmare Before Christmas. I still have a few facts for you on my Instagram if you're interested. Go and check it out. In the description, you will find a link to the poem if you want to read it, and also a link to a documentary about the behind the scenes of the movie. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know and share it. It would be of wonderful help. In the meantime, please enjoy your Halloween, and I'll see you next week for another video. Bye.